my name is Ishmael and today we're going to be talking about ego. Yes, we're going to be talking about the ego. Why are we talking about the ego? Because everyone has ego. Yeah, everyone has the ego, and this is something that I think we should be mindful of, we should be respectful of, and we should be aware of. We need to be aware of what the ego is. Now, a lot of people think, well, what is my ego? And some people say, well, you're egotistical. And a lot of people know what the ego is on some level. But what I want to be aware of is the ego that people are not aware of on every other level. So the ego that I'm talking about is the me, the my, the I, the myself, anything that refers to you as a person. Now, anything that refers to you as a person, also I'm talking about things that you believe belong to you. So you say it's my house, it's my car, it's my phone, it's my clothes, or rather they're my clothes, and so on. So anything that you believe is yours is your ego talking. We are more than just our egos. We are spiritual beings. The me, the my, the I, the myself, the mine, these are all things on a physical level. These are all things that refer to your ego. When you start talking about these things, you're becoming egotistical. Regardless of what level of egotistical you are, everyone does it at some point or another. And most people will stop watching this video now, if not before, because of their ego is getting too upset that I'm talking to it. I'm telling their ego off. And so they will be like, I don't want to hear this. This guy's talking a load of rubbish. Why? Because no one wants to be attacked. And an attack on the ego is an attack on the self. And an attack on the self is hurtful. So a lot of people will switch off and not listen to this video. And I'm okay with that. But I would like to make you aware that it's your ego which is trying to switch off, and not you as a person, not you as a self, not you as a spiritual being, not you as a higher power. This is not you trying to switch off. So why do you want to switch off? Well, first we have to understand ego. And this is quite a big subject, but I will try and get it in very quickly and simply. So, if I ask you who you are, who are you? Most of you will say, well, I'm a person. So, most people might start off by saying, well, I am a 30-year-old carpenter who works here and there and does this and that. And people will say, yeah, but that's not you. Because were you a 30-year-old carpenter when you were 20? And people will go, no, I wasn't. So you go, who are you? We go, well, in that case, I am a person who's born here and went there and did this and did that, and this is my history. And I'll go, but that's your history. Were you that person when you were a baby and born? And they go, no, I suppose not. And every time you look back or look at a scenario, what do you realise? Do you feel like you've aged? I mean, your body might feel like it's aged, but deep down, do you feel like you've aged? Do you feel like when you look back, do you feel like you were a child? Do you feel like you were a little baby? Do you feel like you were smaller? Were you physically smaller when you were younger? Yes, but do you feel like you were a smaller person? Do you feel like you were a smaller being? Probably not. When you look back, you will find that you feel the same size. When you get older, you don't feel like you're any bigger. You feel the same size. Your spirit is still the same size. Now the thing is that people then go and associate things with themselves. So they associate things with I, mine, this, that, it belongs to me, or so on. So the issue with this is that if you associate things with me and my, then you're associating yourself with the physical realm. And then you're disconnecting from the spiritual realm. And we don't want to disconnect from the spiritual realm, because there is a spiritual realm, and although they cannot prove it, they have said the body changes weight when you die. They can physically weigh the body and it changes when you die. If the body changes weight when you die, that must mean that there is something beyond the body that has some sort of weight to it. If you think about that, that is quite a powerful concept. So, this thing beyond the body that has a weight to it, this is what we are talking about. This is what we want to connect with. And the only way to connect this to yourself is by noticing that there is two internal people. There are two people having thoughts. There are two feelings. One is the physical self, and two is the spiritual self. This is the one we want to connect with. And the only way to connect with the spiritual self is by getting beyond the ego. Getting beyond that this is mine, belongs to me, this is where I come from, this is who I am, this is my partner, this is my vehicle, this is my house, this is my money, this is my business. Until you get beyond that this is this belongs to me, this is mine, you will not be able to connect with the spiritual side. You must disconnect from the physical side. Now the ego is very clever, because what it does is it takes itself and it says, okay, you want to disconnect from the physical side, that's fine. I'm going to disconnect you from the physical side. And it goes, an altruistic ego. Have you ever heard of split personality? That is an altruistic ego. People have it on different levels. So what it does is it goes, okay, you want to disconnect from me? That's fine. You can disconnect from me. And the little voice in the background goes, connect to me. Connect to me. I'm your soul. And you go, ah, guess what? That isn't the ego speaking, because I can hear the ego speaking. So you disconnect and you go to the alter ego. The alter ego looks at the ego and says, every time you come up and it goes, that's the ego. Don't listen to him, listen to me. The problem is that being the ego is great. You're looking from this point of view. You've changed your perspective of being the ego, but you're still the ego over here. You're still this alter ego. You're still distracted. You don't want to be this alter ego. You don't want to be that ego. You want to be beyond both. And the problem is that most people, if you get disconnected, you can disconnect and then you become a new ego and you slowly disconnect from the ego. Which is great because you're making progress towards disconnecting from the ego. But it is a long-winded process if you do it this way. And what we need to do is we need to understand that there is something more. And how we do this is we feel. Feeling is beyond. And any time you feel, what you notice is you start noticing, well, anytime you think to say I, you feel like, hang on, that is a belonging, that is a physical thing. That can't be me. And you listen. And when you start being present and listening, you actually start hearing your ego talking. You start hearing it saying, this is mine, and then you say it out loud. And so, the thing is that, if you can hear it talking, are you it? Are you the ego, realistically? Can you be the ego if you're listening to it? No. It's like watching a film. If you're watching a film, can you be the character in the film if you're watching a film? No. And you can only hear the character in the film speaking because you're watching it. So this is the determination from ego. The ego is the film, and you watching it is your soul. So anytime you have a voice which says, this belongs to me, this belongs to that, start noticing it, and start noticing that it's speaking and it's not you speaking. Start noticing that it's not actually feels quite like it's you who's saying the words that are coming out of your mouth. That ego is not actually you. If you start feeling that that isn't you, then you'll start being able to disconnect from the ego. At first, it will be very strange doing this, and it will be only possible through meditation. And once you've practiced through meditation about noticing the thoughts in your head and how they relate, and the fact that you're thinking them and you're not actually thinking them, as in they're not you, but they are someone else's thoughts, or they are someone talking, which is what you're hearing a thought as a speech, then you'll start realizing that there's more, and you'll start disconnecting. And disconnecting isn't a bad thing. It's not like you leave your body and you become unconscious and you don't know how to control things. No, it's the opposite. When you disconnect from the ego, you become more empowered, you become more in control of your body, and you can live from your true feelings. Your true feelings. Not that this is mine, that is mine. Not that, oh no, my car broke, so now my world's come to an end. No. The car broke. That is fine. It's going to be inconvenient to get to work because I don't have that vehicle. That's okay. I'll use public transport. I'll walk. I'll use this as an opportunity to get a bicycle and cycle to work to get exercise and make my physical body fit and look after myself. Use this as an opportunity where the ego something belongs to someone. Use it as I don't mind. It's not mine. Why? Because if someone else's car got broken into or someone else's car got hit broke down in an accident or whatever, would you worry? No, because it's not yours. So when you disconnect from things, then you reduce your worry towards things. And when you reduce your worry towards things, you become more content. You become happier. You become more relaxed. You become more whole. And these are things that I'm sure you want to feel in your life. So like, subscribe, whack that bell notification icon to get notified of videos coming out each and every week.